I haven't done one of these in a long time. So, oh boy. Oh gee, golly, and what the fuck. Uh, I saw this on the Honey Badger Discord server. So they may, well, Allison may end up responding to it at some time. I saw the first minute of this and it hurt my soul so bad I had to respond to it. So, like, it was so painful. Okay. Uh, Before we begin, the title is Monogamy: How Christian Sexual Ethics Took Over the World, Louise Perry. This is a big think thing. I've never heard of this before in my existence. They have more subscribers than Allah does right now. But that's beside the point. Uh, okay. Speaking of Allah, um, oh boy. So we are going to pretend, right? You and I are going to go on this magical journey where we pretend that Christianity invented ethics, right? We're gonna pretend that the Nords did not believe that the only people who deserve the death penalty was murderers, oath breakers, and adulterers, right? And we're gonna pretend that that wasn't a thing, that they were so fiercely monogamous that it was punishable by fucking death in most tribes. We're gonna pretend that.
I think it was all of them.
Well, yeah, it's very close to all of them. Every now and then there's weird tribe offshoots, but still.
Yeah, those were typically not talked to.
Well, yeah, no, they were typically off on the beaten path, But anyways, and again, just holy shit, we're just gonna pretend, right? And this woman, in the first minute of this video, is going to lie more times than I have inches. And holy balls, it's gotta be painful. And every 5 seconds, she spews a hose of shit. I'm gonna have to clean it up with what we can only hope and pray to God is the chemical equation for mustard gas to really get those stains out.
Oh dear.
But here we go. I'll try it a little higher. Yeah. Okay. Oh boy. Is monogamy the best mating system? Here's what's funny. That question alone, right, is kind of suppositioning something. And that is that there are other mating systems. For humans, anyways. Humans are a pair bonding species. It takes two to tango in the human dating system, right? It takes two. Now, that's actually why rape, at least when it's done to women, is a harsh offense, is a harsh crime, penalized by everyone basically sodomizing you with shivs in prison. But only if it's done to women, right? That's the weird blind sight in our dual mating system. Because how many fucking times have I seen stories where a female teacher, usually in their early 20s, rapes a 13-year-old, and they get like a slap on the wrist or they get bail and nothing happens. They just have to stay away from the school. But other than that, they're not on the registry. They're not spat out on public. They don't have to go around house to house and say, by the way, I raped a child when I was a fucking teacher and shit. So, by the by, like that, they don't have to say that. Right? They're not forced to atone for their crimes 1/20th as hard as the male child rapists are. Right? So that's the weird blind spot in this dual male plus female equals mate system. Right? We acknowledge that this system is what it's supposed to be when women are the victims of forced mating, right? To a point where many societies throughout history put the man to death, right? And if the Romans are to be seen as the arbiters of anything, they would do horrible things to the man accused. Keep in mind, there was no such thing as forensic evidence back then, so it was literally hearsay versus hearsay. And if the man was lucky, they would actually try to figure out where he was at the time of this crime, if he was lucky. Otherwise, they would crush his testicles with boulders, which was typically fatal. But still, punishing men for the crime of forced love enthusiasm was very much a constant chronic thing that damn near, if not every fucking culture on planet Earth's history did. But there was always a blind spot to when a woman was the one mounting her victim. Now, I know it's a slight aside, but not really when you think of how pair bonding's supposed to work. Pair bonding's supposed to work where both people have to consent to sex. Not just one, but, you know, you would think that that's how this would work. But, anyways.
It seems quite plausible that polyamory...
I'm going to pause like every picture. That last picture, the chick with the blue, everything, you just... Actually, let's see if I can pull it back a little. Motherfuck, it won't let me... Come on.
Is going to be the next sexual minority rights movement.
Okay. One. Minority rights. We want to acknowledge the weasel on the neighbor's property that is minority rights, right? We want to acknowledge and alleviate and help and fix those downtrodden minorities. But the elephant in the room, that is the majority of the workforce, the majority of the managers and the majority of the CEOs and the majority of laborers, and not to mention the majority of workplace fatalities, that, however, is the group that we don't want to acknowledge the human rights of in any way, shape, or form. Right? That's the one we want to say, oh, well, they have all this rights and privilege because look at all the CEOs. And while they sweep the bodies of 96% of workplace fatalities under the rug. Right? That's when we're like, okay, never mind. We'll go on now and continue to be the 96% of workplace fatalities. Might be 94? The stats changed recently, so I'm trying to remember what they changed into. But men are the vast majority of workplace fatalities. Right? And straight men are the majority of men. And this is in America, by the way. And the majority of straight men in America are white. So the majority of straight white men are the majority of workplace fatalities. It didn't take a magic hypothesis to figure this shit out. It just took logic and understanding, you know, the what's it called? Babe, what's that called?
What?
When you have groups in society, what's that called?
Cliques.
Well, that's like more high school stuff, but yeah, no, you're true. But minorities, majorities.
Congregation.
Oh, well. You're not saying wrong words. It's not the word I'm looking for.
Well, then use the words I'm saying.
Yeah, I'll just... The majority of the demographics, that's the word. Fuck. That took me a while. Hold on, let me grab my extra spare rib, throw it, make some smoke, and create someone my wife's gonna murder in cold blood. But anyways, the thing is... still, just... that the majority of workplace fatalities, dying on the job, is straight white men in America. They're the majority of that. And they're also the majority of taxpayers. And they're also the majority of victims of sexual crime, but we're not going to go there because no one will fucking believe me. In that sense, all I'll say is this. what's more likely to happen? Something that everyone knows is bad, everyone is vigilant against, and everyone wants to kill with a barge pole? Or is something going to happen more that no one acknowledges is bad? When it's just as bad as the other thing. No one acknowledges, no one points out, no one tries to lynch them, right? I've never heard of a woman being lynched for raping a child, okay? You know, hasn't happened yet, you know. So, this is going to be a long video. This is 5 minutes. This was made fucking 9 hours ago, so I'm just gonna... Oh boy.
Currently, of course, marriage is defined in strictly monogamous terms.
That's because marriage is monogamous. It's not currently defined that way. It's always been defined that way. Marriage is not just a Christian concept. Marriage has been a concept since the ancient Greeks and before, right? Marriage is the concept of you make an oath to each other, you make an oath to the gods, and you make an oath to your ancestors that you will make this fucking work. And in harsher climates where the wind can fucking kill you, it's kind of important that you stick with your partner so you and your family can survive. Right? To this day, the Nordlands have quite a few cases annually of people getting shit-faced at taverns during a blizzard, walking out into the snowstorm, and only being found a week later covered in permafrost. Okay? Like, covered in frostbite and fucking dead. That happens quite often, actually, in the Nordlands to this day. And the Nordlands, the North, as Aristotle and many other people throughout history have pointed out, are very fiercely monogamous. And there's a reason for that. Because if you're in a harsh climate where the wind can fucking kill you, you need to make shit work, or you die. But in the more, not quite tropical, but temperate, the more warmer climates, the Mediterranean, Italy, Spain, Greece, not so much ancient Greece, but you have these different areas that are more known for their amorous behavior, and everyone's fucking and everyone's having, you know, just everyone's having either promiscuous or just regular sex, you know, in those areas, because the climate's not going to kill you if you walk out in the middle of a snowstorm needing to use the outhouse, right? You're not going to fucking die that way in ancient Italy, right? Like, it's not going to happen, right? So that's why in those areas the amorousness is a little different. So there is some credence to the whole, you know, monogamy working in more areas than others, but it's still the standard basic norm because it's our fucking biology. I know it's a thing we don't want to acknowledge anymore. We want to pretend biology doesn't fucking exist, but it does. Right? Men, the always fertile penis bearers with higher upper body strength and more height, the female hormonal yet just as determined womb bearers, right, who are shorter yet, you know, can be just as broad as the men if they have the right genetics. You know, and also, a little aside, it does not matter if a woman is smaller than a man. Give her a frying pan and she'll be a pretty fierce opponent, right? Give her a short sword, right? Give her a fucking crossbow, okay? And there you go. The entire he has big brawny shoulders thing has been fucking nerfed, alright? That's all it takes is a woman to grab a hard or sharp object, or both, right? And if she's trained with it, she's even more deadly than if she's not. Now, when it comes to media, we always portray the big, strong, brute villain overpowering the female because that's how writing works. It's not because that's accurate to reality. That's because that's how writing works. You need to have the villain win temporarily to let the hero win permanently. That's just writing. That's, you know, it's as old as the hills and beneath the fountain lilies.
And there are some polyamorous who said that this is unjust and that they're
Of course they would.
Relationships should be legally ignored.
Okay, that's not English. Celebriamo li differencies. Fuck. I'm gonna
celebrate our differences. Or celebrate the differences, something like that.
Honestly, I forget that there's languages other than German where you can do that with, where you can look at the word in German and know it because you know the word in English.
I don't even know what language this is, but it looks like it's...
Portuguese, maybe? Italian, maybe?
Celebriamo le differenze?
Yeah. It's one of the Latin languages.
I know.
Which is strange, because that person doesn't look Latin. They look...
Well, it could be Spain.
True, yeah.
It literally could just be Castilian.
Actually, you might be onto something.
I mean, the Spaniards look exactly like that.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and they...
Pale and dark hair.
Yeah, they have their pale, dark hair variety, and then they have the really ubermensch dark variety that's, like, crazy as balls, but, yeah.
Acknowledged in the same way that another...
Okay, I'm sorry, but this... Dude, I love my girlfriend's boyfriend. That boyfriend is the main stud. You are the wallet, okay? That boyfriend is who's going to impregnate and inseminate that girlfriend you love so much. Your girlfriend looks at you like a fucking wallet and looks at the boyfriend like a big dick attached to a fucking human meatpacking plant. That's how monogamy. That's how polyamory actually works in practice. Okay? I've fucking seen it. That's how it actually works in practice.
Unless it's the men starting it, which I'm not saying that
It's not as bad, but it's still bad.
Nah, it's still just as bad. Fuck you.
Well, okay, yeah. You know what? I'll agree with you. It is just as bad. Just, look, polyamory is a fucking lie. It's a lie to prevent people from breeding. It's a lie to fuck up people's ability to breed, their ability to pair bond, and to, most importantly, fuck up their children. If they do ever fucking have any. Because if their children are fucked up mentally, because they have 8 dads, right? And, if they're fucked up mentally, then it's easier for the education system to corrupt them. And then turn them trans, and then lo and behold, you have an entire generation of fucking children of the evening, so to say. God, I felt filthy saying that. Ugh.
I mean, it's a filthy sentence.
God, I feel like I have to wash the sin off. Ugh. God. Oh.
Is your childhood a little bit too much now?
Dude. Being abused wasn't that painful as that sentence befalling from my lips. Like, holy shit, man. Like, the fact that we live in a time period where children of the night is actually something someone may end up having to say. That's actually a possibility that someone's going to use that phrase unironically.
I would only use it unironically as like a weird paranormal thing of children being like weird, like.
Well,
ghosts.
Okay. If it's children of the night, as in, he's hiding in the trees pretending to be a vampire. Okay, that's a kid having fun, whatever, no problem with that. But maybe I meant to say children. Did I say children of the evening originally? Children of the night.
Yes.
Okay, I meant to say children of the evening. Children. Okay, the term "lady of the evening" is basically a prostitute, basically. And yeah, well, and so children of the evening would, be that horrible fucking next step. First they came for the women, and we said nothing because we also were women who didn't care about other women's existence. And then they came for the children, and I went, holy fuck, that was fast. Anyways, I'm gonna get off track in this 5-minute video. Fuck you people, I'm doing my job. Okay? My job is to be pedantic. Fucking. Okay.
Those people's relationships are acknowledged. But I think that there is a risk of rejecting the monogamous model.
One, I have to pause this every fucking 10 seconds just in case YouTube doesn't nuke this from orbit because, they... whatever. They keep changing. I don't fucking know. It's something. It's fucking YouTube being a gaggle of cock ends. But, okay. Rejecting the monogamous model. Do you know why that's a bad thing? Aside from the shit I've been saying for the last 20 minutes. Why rejecting it is a bad thing? Because, A, you don't know if that kid is fucking yours or not. And that's kind of important. You kind of need to know if you can donate blood to your own fucking child. You kind of need to know if your organs are viable as a replacement for your child should they get into a fucking motorcycle accident. Right? You need to be able to know if your genetic either pro or con events, genetically speaking, are going to pass down to this child. You need to know this information. Right? That's why adulterers was extremely frowned upon to the point of murder in most cases, in a lot of societies historically, because that kid could, actually, shit, I'll mention this. That kid could be a bastard. And a bastard, everyone's fucking seen Game of Thrones, the way Jon Snow is treated, right? He's the bastard. He has fucking no rights in society, right? Because his parents, or his biological parents, weren't married at the time. Now, way the fuck in the very end, yes, I'm saying this, fuck you, he ends up being the fucking chosen Elric Ward of the fucking universe, because Game of Thrones stole the fuck out of everything from BattleTech, but that's beside the point, and, you know, as a result... And Elric. So, you know, there you go. Well, actually, that I don't count as much. You know why?
Well, think about it. It's a fantasy setting set up similar to Elric with a lot of elements of BattleTech.
True. Well, here's why I say I don't count the Elric plagiarism as much, because George R. R. Martin and Michael Moorcock are like best friends.
I never said it was plagiarism. I'm saying it was inspiration.
Yeah. That I can see. Okay, I misunderstood. I'm sorry. But yeah, no, you're right.
How he's doing this video, folks, I have no idea.
I don't know how I do these things. I just record and just a stream of psyche brain cancer just flows through my veins. And the barge broke. I just realized this. Is the barge breaking not possibly a metaphor against polyamory? Even though this video is trying to be pro polyamory, but so okay, so I understand. Proponent is like in favor of, right? Opponent is opposed to. Proponent is in favor of, right?
That's what it sounds like.
Okay, well,
I don't know definitions.
I'm supposed to be a writer. I don't even know how fucking words work. Okay.
Polyamory would say that in our species history, the most common mating model has been the polygynous model.
Okay. I had to let the whole thing play. Here's the problem.
Proponent, a person who advocates a theory, proposal, or project.
Oh, so it's in favor of. Okay. So, here's the thing. The whole, throughout all of history, people have had harems. No. Throughout all of history, sultans and emperors, very rarely in European societies, mind you.
Unless they're Roman.
Unless they're Roman. But for the most part, they did not have... Europe did not do the harem thing. Like, almost at all, 99% of the fucking time, except for, like, really, really, really far back Bronze Age shit. And even then, it was rare. But...
Like I just said, Rome.
Yeah. Rome, yeah, but... Rome was a little different. Rome was just weird. But anyways, look, the places where this happened, only the emperors, the sultans, the grand architects of society, the kings and emperors and crowns, right? Only they had harems. And it was because it was believed that their bloodline was divine and they had to spread it as far as possible, right? And only then, this is the exception to the exception to the exception of the rule, okay? This is by no means how all of any society ever has worked ever in all of human fucking history. We are looking at what emperors did and pretending that all of society did it. This is lying to you. This is taking a fraction and telling you it's the goddamn whole pie. And it's bullshit.
So when you have one male having multiple female partners, that's about 80% of...
Okay, the 80% of cultures had a sultan, had an emperor who did that. Yes. Yes. A lot of them, yes. Just about everything but the white cultures were doing that. But it was only the emperors.
I don't really remember the Asian cultures doing it that often.
Oh, well,
Except maybe the higher ups.
It depends on the...
like,
well, yeah, that's what I mean. The only time this kind of 1 man to 8 female harem thing, the only time it ever happened in any society ever was with the top 1% of men.
Actually, one way that polygamy doesn't actually work is the fact, why did the nobles have it? They could provide for that many women.
Yeah, they could provide, yeah, because they had more money than God.
I mean, are you, a commoner,
yeah,
really going to have enough money to provide for more than one?
Well, what's funny is that thanks to feminism, we're getting back into that anyways. The top 10% of men can have a harem, and it doesn't matter. They're just fucking everything that isn't nailed down because they can, because women flock to them like fucking flies.
Yeah, but then they still also go for the guy that doesn't even have a job.
Yeah. Oh well, I mean.
That 10% does not include money sometimes.
Well, the 10%, when we say the top 10% of men, we're talking the top 10% of earners. So they do have the most money. But that being said,
what I just mentioned happens quite often.
You're not wrong. But again, the top 10% of earners can afford a harem. Is 80% of women go for the top 10% of men? Women? That means there's 20% of you that have access to 90% of men. Dude, you have the pick of the litter. Like, you can pick whatever the fuck you want. Like, it's way, because the majority of women like flocking to one revenue source, and half the time that's fucking TikTok, or not TikTok. What's the whore one thing? OnlyFans. Half the time they flock to OnlyFans. And then when they do OnlyFans, most of them realize that they're not making any fucking money. The majority of them earn less than $100 a month.
There's only like 1% of them that actually earn anything.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's another like top 10 or not even top 10%, top 1% hierarchy. Women form that all the time. That's kind of what I'm getting at. But again, the 80% of cultures had a polyamorous thing, but only for the uber rich ubermensch of the culture. Poor people could not afford that many wives. Oh, nice. They could not afford that stuff. They could not. Look, the working serfs and the peasants could not afford more than one fucking wife. Half of them, they could barely afford one wife. Right? So, this is disingenuous to the 20th degree.
Cultures on the anthropological record have been polygynous, and then the remaining 20% have been monogamous.
That 20% is white, by the way. It's entirely white. White cultures have always been monogamous. Always. Except for maybe the Italians, but that was only at a certain time they weren't. The Spaniards were known for their swarthy charms for some time. But again, that was after a certain time in human history. For the most part, everything in Europe had a purely monogamous system. Purely monogamous, 100%. Right? They are cherry-picking data here. Really fucking hard. Really fucking hard. So hard that those cherries are going to fuse upside the assholes of other cherries. It's going to be ridiculous. You're going to have quad cherries pretty soon.
The monogamous model is the unusual one. We now have very different material conditions in all sorts of ways. We have the pill. We have ways of treating sexually transmitted diseases.
I have no idea what these advancements have to do with us, like...
It's in promotion to casual sex.
Okay.
Which is therefore in promotion to
polyamory. Yeah.
And by extension.
Yeah. Okay. So they're extracting and blowing it up like a balloon on the Hindenburg. Yeah. No.
We have technologies like the internet, and therefore...
Yes, the internet. And it's because of the internet, we totally have all this access to free and available cheap pussy. And because of that, the pussmongers are just lording out their goods over the masses. And fucking, what the fuck does... Look, the internet's easier to meet people. I guess it's easier to fuck people. I've never seen a difference.
Tinder.
Well, yeah.
Most dating apps most of them end up being hookup apps.
Yeah, exactly.
In the end.
Yeah.
Which hookup culture in and of itself is a detriment to society.
Yeah. Mainly
because all it does is just breed mental issues and basically doesn't fix anything.
Also, if any of you think that wearing condoms are going to protect you, you're fucking mistaken. Because they can easily be tampered with. Easily.
Well, not only that, but...
And they can easily break.
Well, what do you think they say? They're 98% effective.
No, it's way lower than that. They're 98% effective when they work. 40% of the time they fucking break on your ass. Okay? Especially if you're into the, the rough hardcore that everyone's fucking into nowadays. Then, as a result, you end up fucking going too ham or too athletic or whatever. You go too ham, the damn thing breaks, and you now have the clap. Congratulations. Right? So, just because... Oh, that's really pretty. Just because you have condoms doesn't mean they're going to protect you. Okay? They only protect you when they don't break. And they break pretty fucking easily. Right? So, especially with friction. Which, look, it's quite common nowadays for women to not be as lubed up, vaginally speaking, naturally, as they used to be. So they get drier. Condom has some lube on it. Yes, a lot of them are pre-lubed. But that only goes so far. Right? So condoms aren't going to protect you. I mean, it's better to have some protection than no protection, granted, but if you're fucking all these AIDS patients thinking your dick is safe, it's not. Right? It's fucking entirely possible. So what she's saying is, oh well, your willy's protected, so you don't have to worry about catching the herp. Well, no, bullshit. It only protects if it fucking doesn't break. Okay. Now, what I've been saying for the past 5 minutes is that if it breaks, I haven't been saying if it's been tampered with, because that tends to ruffle some feathers. But I don't give a fuck, so, why am I saying that? But, still, it tends to ruffle some feathers when you point out that it's very fucking easy to break a condom. With a quarter. Or a fucking bobby pin. Or a hat pin. Just, look, women carry those objects on them all the time. All they have to do is get into your condom stash and fuck it up, and now you're on the hook for child support for fucking 18 years. And she milks you like a wallet. And keep in mind, that's not a punishable offense, by the way. Raping his genetic material against his will is not a punishable offense. So, keep that in mind.
Why should we be beholden to the mating structures of the past?
So let me get this straight. You literally, 20 seconds ago, said that the mating structure of the past was polyamory. And now you're saying, why should we be beholden to mating structures of the past like polyamory? What? You just contradicted yourself! Holy fuck! Holy tits in a cocktail blanket! Holy balls! You literally just contradicted yourself. You just implied against your own argument. What? And this was the part where my brain broke and I had to respond to this. So the rest, I'm going in blind. I'm kind of dry, kind of sort of, because I don't have skin. Thanks, doctors. I appreciate that.
This is a brave new world with all sorts of new possibilities.
That's even worse. You're adding on to the fact that you just contradicted yourself. Brave new world with new possibilities. If all we've been doing is having harems, then new possibilities is monogamy. Logically speaking, that's what you're. Oh my god, this hurts my fucking brain cancer. Ow, my brain cancer has brain cancer. What the fuck are you doing?
I think the problem with that defensive polyamory is that it overestimates the extent to which we are really capable of controlling our Stone Age brains.
Okay, that guy. You guys probably recognize what commercials he's from. But, okay. Controlling our Stone Age brains. You just said our Stone Age brain wanted a harem. And that's normal. Now, you're saying, actually, our Stone Age brains wanted monogamy, and that's outdated. We should move forward. What? Make up your fucking mind, you dafters bint! Ugh!
Our brains have not kept pace with the technological change that we've seen.
Every time I unpause, she digs the hole fucking deeper.
We still are basically adapted to the lives of our hunter-gatherer ancestors. That puts a fairly hard limit on the extent to which we can completely design utopia on the back of an envelope.
Design utopia? You think it's a utopia for me to get cucked, don't you? I have a feeling this is your entire philosophy. Is cuckoldry is not just normal, it's fucking state-ordered mandatory. How the fuck can you have a society where all the earners and workers and the hard able-bodied that pay all the taxes, none of the kids they have are theirs. And all the kids they get are from the lazy Neanderthal troglodyte who knocked that bitch up.
Hey, don't make fun of Neanderthals, that's our relatives.
Goddamn woman. My fucking wife, I love her. But, look. As I was saying, actually, they're not even Neanderthalic, they're more like Homo habilis, but that's beside the point. They knock out the woman, because their sperm gets there, because while you're earning a paycheck, he's plowing the misses. And she ends up popping out a kid that's half her, half him. I don't need to state any more than that. I think you know what I'm getting at. And half him, like him, is slow, dumb, sluggish, and brutish. And has no aspirations for anything other than plowing bitches. A whole generation of that and our society will fucking collapse. A whole generation of that. Our society will be gone. And that's the point. Again, I don't need to mention who or what tribe or where they are wants that to be a thing, but I think you can guess on your own. This is the internet, after all. You have all this knowledge at your disposal. Babies.
Salt Lake City, Utah, and the home of Dr. R.C. Allred, fundamentalist believer in plural marriage, the practice and preachment of polygamy.
I hope that's not a wife and that's just one of the moms. I really hope. I hope that's not one of the wives. Yeah. I don't know why I paused it on that.
People are free to experiment with all sorts of mating patterns, including polyamory. For some...
Okay. Free to experiment with all sorts of mating patterns, including polyamory. What mating patterns are there than one person per person or several person per person? Is there an amorphous third thing I'm unaware of? Or are you just trying to sound important so you can push something that will destroy our fucking society? In order to be born, we had to win a race. It's the sperm getting to the egg. We had to win that race. And we are the racists. Anyways, little joke aside. But we had to run that race. Okay? And there are some biological points to that you can easily make the argument of, you know, the better genetics sperm survives if you have multiple donors. I don't know how viable or often that works, but that's the argument. Now, again, since you're at work all day, earning a paycheck for you and this squatter who's plowing your wife, his sperm's gonna win. Because when two horny adults are home alone together, a lot of sex ends up happening. Okay? While you're gone. And Tyrone is busy plowing your fertile soil. And DeAndre pops out of that womb, and you have to pay for all of it. You, for this argument, white. You, the white breadwinner, and all these squatters are making good on your property. Right? That's how it works in practice, guys. That's how it works in practice. On paper, it's she gets partners, I get partners. Yay, I get more pussy. Hooray, right? That on paper, that's the lie women sell to men about polyamory. You can fuck as many bitches as I fuck dudes. That's totally fine. No problem with that. The moment you get a side chick, the fucking moment that happens, she nukes it from orbit with an Arrow 4 artillery cannon and just destroys the fuck out of it and gives you an ultimatum. Okay? That's how it is in fucking practice. Okay? This is the problem with all of this leftist schlock bullshit. All of it is good on paper, but detrimental to the existence of the species on practice.
Individuals, that's good. In terms of the whole society, though, women and children in particular, the monogamous system is much preferable for all of its flaws.
Wait, what? Hold on. You just spent the last 2.5 minutes beating off polyamory's dick with a righteous hammer. And now all of a sudden you're like, well, women and children benefit in a monogamous system. Dude, everyone benefits in a monogamous system. What the fuck are you talking about? Everyone benefits. And you notice the only type of polyamory she mentioned was one sultan having 7 wives. You notice that? You notice she didn't fucking mention the fucking one woman having 12 boyfriends? That other end of the coin? Never mentioned that. Never brought that up in this whole fucking video, no did she? I wonder why.
Monogamous America waits for the answer to the question, how many wives?
Monogamy makes societies more stable, more peaceful, more prosperous.
Now I'm confused. Look, I know this is devil's advocate shit. I get it. But it's very weird to hear this from someone who obviously uses leftist, statist, cocksucking concepts and arguments, right? When they actually tell the truth, it takes you aback, and you're like, wait, what? I thought you were lying to me the whole time. Hold on. Now I have to process this, right? That's how my brain always works.
You can compare this quite directly by looking at certain countries which have both monogamous and polygynous systems operating in tandem. And
oh, you mean all the non-white countries? Oh yes, I totally didn't notice that 10 minutes ago when I said it. Yeah, let's look at how prosperous those countries are doing with their mud huts and their bachals. Yeah, let's look at how prosperous they're doing.
You can see that there are these differences. Households with multiple wives are much more prone to conflict. Before
she even says it, I'm just going to assume she's going to say that they're prone to conflict because the man's beating all these women. I just have a feeling. I haven't seen this before. I have a feeling. But in reality, women fight each other all the fucking time. You honestly think women are not competitive? Where the fuck have you been? Have you not seen women? Have you not lived with them? Are you not one yourself? Do you not feel competitive over Stacy, the bitch stealing your man's dick? Yes, you do. You want to slit that bitch's throat. That's normal. That's how women feel, right? That's as normal as the hills. Okay. It's pretty violent and kind of speaks against women being the ultimate nurturers and caregivers that society yearns for. But beside the point.
Stepchildren in particular are much more vulnerable to abuse by their step-parents.
That is true, but it's just my bullshit dar's going off. I feel like she's gonna mention something in particular.
It's a phenomenon that evolutionary biologists call the Cinderella effect, described by Steven Pinker as the single greatest risk factor in child abuse ever identified.
That is actually, I don't know, ever identified, but that is pretty close to true. It's far more common if we're doing the male and female, narrative game. It's far more common for a stepfather to involuntarily love-splain the stepchildren than it is for a biological father to do that to his own flesh and blood. Actually, from the studies I've seen, biological fathers molesting their daughters, I want to say it happens in some weird fuck-off fantasy land and feminist imaginings, but it doesn't happen in reality. It's extremely fucking rare. It's like 1 in a billion fucking rare. Right? I've never known a person in my entire life that had that case. And I've known a lot of rape victims. I've known a lot of them, okay? And not a single one of them were abused by their biological father. Not a single one. However, a lot of them, including some of my family, distant family, but still, were abused by their stepfather. And that's why the biological mom of this distant relative, I do not want to fucking speak to. I don't even want to acknowledge her existence. And to my knowledge, she is slowly suffering into an early grave. So, there is karma in the world. But, beside the point. Yeah. Step-parents and step-moms raping their stepsons is also extremely fucking common, but you never hear about that now, do you? It's also extremely fucking common. Very, actually. So, and remind me all of the health factors, all of the mental health systems in place to protect boys from being raped by adult women. All right, fucking none of them. Thanks, Bill Clinton and Joe Biden, for writing that bill in the 90s. We really fucking appreciate it. Sincerely, every male rape victim ever.
We've inherited our monogamous marriage system from ancient Rome, which was only...
Wait, what? What? Ancient Rome was the one that had all the harems. Which you just said was normal. What? Can you get your fucking story straight, woman? Also, that's not a preacher. That's not... I don't know what that is, but that's way too happy to think of these two women going at it like ravenous dogs. That's just creepy. Is that a woman? I can't... I yearn for the time period where we could tell what gender people were by looking at them. I yearn for those days. I yearn back for a time before Rome.
Unusual in having a monogamous model, but Roman sexual ethics were wildly different. Roman culture, including sexual culture, was fairly cruel and shocking.
Wait, what? Okay, one, you showed a picture of fucking Priapus and pretended that was a normal dude. Priapus, for those who don't know, was thrown off of Olympus by the dick, and as a result, that's why you saw that extremely large phallus with extremely large foreskin attached to it.
Are you talking about Priapus?
Yes.
Actually, the story goes is that Hera actually cursed him because she was not approving of Aphrodite's ways.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was a son that was born from Aphrodite and Ares, from last I knew.
Yeah,
and not to mention he's also the god of animal fertility and plant fertility.
Yeah, fun facts. They showed a picture of like different Roman mosaics, One of them was fucking Priapus. And they pretended that was just some normal dude with a comically large phallus. Like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, Priapus is just some dude in Rome, you know, just chilling out in the fields, fucking waving his dick at passengers, you know.
Literally every day. Damn it, Chris.
I didn't know you were talking. Go on. I did. Hey.
Nope. Brownie stuff for you.
You better give me some brownie shit, woman. Why don't you ever bake that shit? You just, like, make...
I don't know. I just like it this way.
You just make the batter and just eat it raw like a savage, and it's kind of attractive, but that's beside the point. Savage women.
But the thing is, with Priapus, he does actually have a very comically large,
crank.
And the thing is, every depiction of him does not have it flaccid.
Yeah.
It's always sticking straight out.
He is always as hard as a turgid bull, and it's fucking...
He's just kind of like, yep.
Again, he's the god of fucking animal and plant fertility, so that should tell you something.
In the world, Harvey Weinstein would have been completely unremarkable.
What? Oh my god! This chick has contradicted herself like 5 times. And she's saying that Rome had a monogamous model. And now she's saying Rome had a polyamorous model. Like, what the... Which is it, woman?
The idea that a rich, high-status man should have sexual access to his social inferiors, in particular his slaves, was
Hold on. You just threw in slavery out of fucking nowhere there.
completely unquestioned in the era before Christianity. Prostitution.
Okay. The prostitution being permissible? Yes. A big chunk of, what was that? Vesuvius? Pompeii. A big chunk of Pompeii was like 80% red light districts. So, to be fair, that part is true. See, here's the deviousness. They lie to you for 5 minutes straight and then slip in a grain of truth to make you question reality. Because you agree with the truth and just assume that the lies are true, too. It's an age-old propaganda tactic. Right? That the communists invented, by the way. But, beside the point.
Prostitution was completely permissible. The sexual double standard was alive and well, and that men were basically allowed to be as promiscuous and unfaithful as they wanted.
Oh, you lying motherfucker. You lying motherfucker! Like, okay. For the sake of argument, just because I'm feeling fucking generous today, I will assume you're only talking about Rome. Even then, this is bullshit. Even then, you're speaking lies and double half-truths.
Also, can I mention with the Harvey Weinstein thing is the fact that, like, did she just call him remarkable? Or unremarkable, or what? Or does she mean she was creepy, or that he would be a prize?
Well, in other words, he would have been commonplace, is what she means.
Okay.
He would have been commonplace in ancient Rome. Which she said that we got the monogamous structure from Rome, but having a polyamorous structure in Rome was also just Rome. Like, she keeps conflating the two with Rome. Which...
Did everybody forget about the northern tribes?
She doesn't mention them fucking once. Not once does she... And keep in mind, the only time she ever mentions polyamory is when it's one dude with, like, a harem of 7 women. She never mentions the other, more normal, more widespread form of polyamory, where there's 5 dudes to 1 bitch. And, you know, I mentioned quite a few times while you were gone. In practice, it's Tyrone banging the guy who's earning the money for everyone in the family's wife, you know. And then 9 months later, DeAndre pops out and is just as lazy and slothish and only thinks about pussy like his dad. And there you go. A generation of that, our entire society will collapse. We'll have no more taxpayers. And our whole system will buckle under its own weight. That's all it takes. Is a generation or two, and everything's damaged forever. Really good batter.
Mm-hmm. Whereas women were expected to protect their chastity fiercely and so on. And into this world, in the 1st century AD, comes Christianity.
Hold on. The whole time you were saying this double standard, which is totally alive today, everywhere you look, right, was a pagan concept. I beg the fuck pardon. What? Did you just forget the Rhine existed? Did you just pretend north of the Rhine wasn't a place?
Actually, to my knowledge, wasn't the Celtic tribes also monogamous?
Yeah, they're also monogamous too, yeah. Just about everything north of the Rhine was 100% monogamous the whole fucking time.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's also Celtiberians.
Oh, yeah.
Still part of the same thing.
Yeah, true.
With some very radical, very shocking ideas about sexuality.
This video confuses my brain. I think my brain cancer now has brain cancer. Dude. This is probably one of the most painful videos I've ever had to wrap my fucking noodle around. This is bad. This is really fucking bad. And it just lies about history so fucking hard to justify. And then it pretends, oh, we're not justifying it because, you know, fucking monogamy's good for the wife and kids. Because monogamy's good for everybody, asshole. Quit pretending that men benefit from the good system that's also bad because men benefit from it. Make up your fucking mind. Pick one side of the goddamn fence to sit on and just be there. I know it's hard to exist on one side of a dual epoch, but it's fucking possible.
The idea that, yes, women should expect to be chaste, but so should men.
Everyone already thought that in the pagan tribes. You fucking liar! Ugh.
The expectation that women shouldn't have premarital sex, this is also applied to men for the first time ever.
Oh, you fuck. Oh my god!
No, it was said to men that they shouldn't have it either for a very long time. Actually, even in the northern tribes, nobody actually had sex until they were married. It wasn't the fact that we prevented like a future couple from doing it. It was just the fact that
you had to be married because we didn't know when a kid was gonna pop out. There wasn't contraceptives.
Thing is, if the couple did do it before they were married, it's just like, well, they're marriage now.
Yeah. As soon as a baby's there, you better fucking marry the broad. It was that way with the Christians. It was that way with the pagans. It was like, holy fuck. Like, you fucking lying bellend. Holy piss in a bucket. I'm gonna have a fucking aneurysm, dude. I'm going to have a fucking aneurysm. Please console my aneurysm wife. Monogamous wife who only loves me and not some asshole named Tyrone. Thank you.
I am consoling him with brownies.
Yeah, brownie batter.
Brownie batter.
This is painful, guys. I don't know why I do this. I don't know why I subject myself to this torment. That's probably why I haven't made one of these kinds of videos in like a year and 8 months. That's probably why. But here we are in the future.
Often this was a most unwelcome message to men of the 1st century AD. But for all sorts of complex historical reasons, it caught on, and Christian sexual...
Hold on. Let me get this straight. You ascribe from the same belief that history was a patriarchy. And this idea of monogamy was unpopular with men. And in this patriarchy where men ruled and had absolute dominion, they just let it fucking happen anyways?
So this was happening for how many years? Thousands, apparently? Is that what she's getting at? Or is she just getting at the fact that Christian things did that?
She's... How do I put this? She's playing both sides of the fence at the same time and setting both on fire at the same time. It's very weird. It's
trying to say devil's advocate at the very beginning.
Look, there's a way to do...
She's not doing a very good job.
No, she's not. There's a way to do devil's advocate, and it's not contradicting yourself every step of the fucking way. Right? Look, if it's a pro-argument, have a pro-argument. If it's an anti-argument, explain your argument. You don't have to do a third of one and negative 4/5 of another.
Okay, but was she saying that...
She's talking about Christianity introducing this into society. Because, the idea of men being chaste wasn't a fucking...
So, since it also happened with the Norse, would that mean that the Norse society was a predominant patriarchy?
She hasn't said she's a feminist, but this is feminist logic.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying because a lot of people would say that because of how warrior-like we were, we would be a very patriarchal society, which I'm sure somebody would say.
That's what's weird is because feminists typically don't try to brick the Nordic concepts a whole lot.
Probably because we'll straight up tell them, guess what? Men would die, or women would get kicked out of the village.
It's probably
if they were adulterers.
It's probably because the few of us that are actually trad pagans are the ones that will actually tell them, listen, bitch, no.
Not to mention women were considered the bearers of magic.
Yeah.
Which, I mean...
Women have been magic,
for the stuff that I practice, I technically have more of the divine power than, say, Chris. He has more of the physical power of things in terms of magical use.
Yeah. Our mysticism is a little beaten aside, but you're not wrong. Again, she's trying to say that Christianity created this idea that men had to be chaste as well. And, oh boy.
Men had to be that way for a long time.
Dude, she had to cherry pick so fucking hard. She had to only pick the sultans and Rome for her pro-polyamory argument. This isn't a devil's advocate. This is just being a sophist. Thank you.
Athletics became the dominant force in Europe and colonies for two.
I'm trying to... Hold on. I want to make a joke about this.
Colonies for 2,000 years.
I can't pause on the dude's nose.
But
I thought that would have been a funny joke, but I was gonna say Shlomo Goimo, we're all of the same tribe.
Okay.
The monogamous tribe.
Now, even in Greece, monogamy was much higher than people gave it credit for.
Yeah.
It was mostly just Rome being fucking weirdos.
Yeah.
Not even kidding.
And again, that's the weird grain of truth thing, is where she said that Rome was really weird for the time. Yes, they were polyamorous in a lot of cults of society, but everyone the fuck else in all of fucking Europe was monogamous.
I mean...
So she inverted it to lie to you about it.
I mean, I guess you could say that some of the Greek things, because of Zeus and Aphrodite, were... Although Aphrodite only had, 2 partners.
Yeah.
And Zeus had, he had many babies.
Yeah.
But, to my knowledge, the reason he did it was to...
It was mostly to help humans.
Yeah, really. It was mostly just to help.
Yeah. He just did a very odd, roundabout way of doing it.
Yes.
But yeah.
And then in the 1960s and onwards, we end up slowly unravelling the embedded Christian idea.
Oy. Okay, actually, I do remember something that somebody saying, and she was mostly leftist leaning. Mm-hmm. She actually did mention that the Bible doesn't down women. It never has.
Yeah.
However, while they don't abuse their women, they don't do anything bad to their women. On my end of the thing, I don't think they honor motherhood or just women in general. I don't think they really honor them as much as what they could.
Yeah. Because
it is... And I'm not saying that, it's a patriarchal thing. I'm just saying it's... Because even the men aren't really that honored that highly either.
Yeah.
Because it's you're not honoring mother, you're not honoring father, you're not honoring anybody.
That's actually something the Honey Badgers point out, is that the trad Christian, trad wife angle of most of it is the same logic as the radical feminist argument that men are all rapists because penis. They believe the same thing, it's just they go about instructing it different ways.
But the thing is, I don't see how the fuck I don't even consider myself traditional.
Yeah.
And yet I do more traditional ways of thinking than most trad people would.
Well, because when people think of trad wife, they think of Christian.
Well, they think of Christian in the 1950s. They don't think of
what they
woman...
think the 1950s was, but yes.
Well, it is a stereotype, but the thing is, I'm trying to base this stuff off of things that are 1,000 or more years old.
Yeah.
More than actually, probably more than 1,000.
Actually, older than 2.
Well over 2. Like, the Norse religion in and of itself is...
Goes back to the Bronze Age and even before. And,
it goes back to even prior to the flood.
Yeah.
It goes back thousands upon thousands of years.
Yeah, the Nordic tribes and all that stuff. People have been living up in them thar hills for a long fucking time.
I mean, so there's a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
We're still on that kind of de-Christianization course. I think that often feminists make a mistake in assuming that there's a binary between...
Okay.
No, this is going to be an interesting part of the video.
Yeah, no shit. Didn't I mention she has feminist logic?
And well, maybe. Wait. Maybe she's one of them that's on the fence of things, not sure what's going on. She would still be raised around it, and still might believe some of it, but clearly she might be on the fence about something.
I don't think she is. I don't believe that for 1 second. Given how she formulated her
I'm not
arguments,
saying that she's... Honey, I'm saying she might have a foot on the fence, not an entire half of her body.
Maybe half of her fucking pinky toe, maybe, but... Yeah, no.
Or maybe she has one of her hands on it, just kind of being like...
Yeah, judging, you know.
Between feminist ideas on the one hand and Christian ideas on the other, and that they are necessarily in conflict. For all of the downsides of the Christian view of men and women and sexuality...
What downsides? Look,
okay,
there are downsides to the Christian view of, say, God and absolutism. Absolutely. Oh, that was a sentence. But... I know. But when you get the fucking cat, he's screaming his goddamn pubes off.
I didn't know if you wanted him in here because you were having a video.
Well, I don't mind.
And he's gonna start fucking with stuff, and I don't want to yell at him, and I'm already bitching about it, so you just caused it.
Yeah, I know.
Now, screw you.
Also, there is something, speaking of the trad argument, there is, in all of these videos involving, norms and changing society, there's always this subversive little subtext about race mixing involved. Subversive little subtext. And, it's always dark male, pale female. That's the only way they ever show it. And you have to wonder if that's not by design. You just have to wonder.
Also, there is this fundamental idea that the weak should be prized and protected and the strong should restrain themselves, which was radical then and really remains radical now.
What?
Get smarter, faster, with videos from the world's biggest thinkers.
You people are on drugs.
Not the good kind.
And not the fun kind that makes you not feel pain. They're the kinds that I enjoy.
Honey, you're not on those drugs anymore. You're never going to be on them anymore.
God, I miss those drugs.
You are never going to be back on them.
I know. Look, I know. You can stop shooting down my hopes and dreams. I get it. Fuck.
Wow, I'm really shooting down your hopes and dreams, even though I keep encouraging you about everything. And this video is still recording, and I'm gonna keep...
You ate all the fucking batter. Holy shit.
I was hungry.
I had like 3 bites of the motherfucker.
No, you didn't. You had more than that.
Yeah, 4 or 5. But, okay.
Oh, shut it.
This comment here, C. Mendy? I think that's a C. I live here in a Muslim country, and polygamy is very common. The first wife tend to be immensely disappointed when her husband brings a second wife, and that brings a huge drama between the wives. I haven't met even one family in which the wives live in harmony. There is always drama and fights. The older generation were able to build friendships with the other wives, but the newer generation tries to sabotage each other. Many times, the wives have their own homes far from each other. The husband then spends 2 days in one home and other 2 days in the other. The families don't unite. Everyone lives separately, and the only reason women go into those marriages is because they need a provider. They are shamed for not being married, and their belief tells them to do so. Marriages here is functional. It is like a contract. Everyone has to do their part and play their role and get their act together. But that's also... What the hell is that?
Oh, I don't know. It plays off your hat that you don't protect. Now you can't even collect it anymore.
Okay, well. I thought I covered that hat.
Oh.
Oh, I guess not. Shit. Anyways, I thought I did. Yeah, I know. Going to those in provider. Yeah, okay. Marriages here is functional. I read that part. That's also the reason why those marriages last for so long. But there are many miserable wives and family dramas, all hidden behind walls. No happiness, no balance. Just get the scene done and move on. I haven't read any of these other ones. Oh wow, there's some cancer comments. Okay. Yeah, no. So that was one I wanted to read. God, I actually got through that. Fuck. It only took an hour and 10 minutes. Oh boy. If YouTube gets on my ass about, oh, you're using other people's content. Yeah, 5 minutes of an hour and 10.
So I think they're gonna mostly get you for calling the girl a female dog.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I've heard you call things the female dog word.
Bitch. What? Woman, I say words. I'm not afraid of them. Like 90% of the fucking oikophobes who fear my existence. Also, yes, stay afraid. Anyways, yeah. So
Chris,
that was what?
Trying not to say it.
It did. Look, I'm gonna get canceled purely because I believe men deserve fucking human rights. Okay, I might as well go off with it.
I mean, one person already thought that you were anti-woman, so.
Who thought that again?
It was just somebody who.
Oh, in D-Fables?
Yes.
Yeah. Dude. Dude. That was glorious. Oh, God. The oikophobes live everywhere, don't you know? They're the new normal. But they're totally the anti-establishment, anti-authority anarchists going against the grain. Totally. Wink, wink. But yeah, that was whatever the fuck that was. I still don't know if this video was pro or anti-monogamy. I don't know if it was pro or anti-polyamory. It kind of did both at the same time while doing neither. So, brain cancer. Okay, that was fun. I will fuck off now. You do the same. Get fucked. Have a good life. Take care. And don't eat the poisonous bran muffins. Whatever you do. Say bye, wife.
Bye-bye. Oh shit, I'm flying.
Oh shit, I'm flying. Bye-bye.